Listen here. It's another week on Skriptures with deBBie chat show. Now today I have someone who is, I would like to call her a trio of a lot of things. She's the pastor's kid, she's a lawyer, she's a model, and she's a designer. Hello Kene, welcome to the
deBBie,
show.
Thank you.
How do you put that all together? Okay, let's start with the first. What I think is the first, you being a pastor's kid. That's what you were first, right?
Yeah.
So how does that feel?
To be honest, I think it feels pretty normal. People always expect you to have some crazy story about how challenging it is or whatever.
Okay.
But I feel, it's normal in the sense that I've lived a normal life.
Okay.
My parents don't put any pressure on me, so so I'm normal. I go out, I do have friends, I hang out, I travel.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I used to have friends going to secondary school, fathers were pastors, and there's certain things they are not allowed to do, like going out. So we always had to go to their house to see them. I think this particular person just came to my house just once.
I think that's when the problem arises with pastors' kids, because a lot of pastors' kids are sheltered, or not sheltered, but they're not allowed to do a lot of things. Okay. And so that's when they rebel, and then you have people saying pastors' kids are the worst. But I feel like in my family, my parents do not put any pressure on us to be pastors' kids. We've basically brought up in sort of a relaxed manner, so to speak. Obviously, we've been taught certain things, and by the end of the day, we're left to make our own decisions. And we all have, me and my siblings sort of have our heads screwed on right, so to speak, because we've been taught that way. Okay. But apart from that, we are pretty.
But the people put expectations on you.
People outside?
Yes,
But I feel like if your own parents don't put pressure on you, people outside, I wouldn't. Exactly, because I wasn't brought up like that.
Yeah, that follows.
So it wouldn't. Yeah.
So it's pretty much train the child the way he should go, and then when he's old, he would not depart from it. That's what's working.
Exactly.
Working.
So obviously we go to church and Bible study and stuff, but there was no sort of religion pounded on us. More about lifestyle. Finding God for yourself and all of that.
Interesting, very interesting. Now, you being a lawyer, how does that work? Okay, let me tie that together. Okay. The lawyer and the model and the designer. Okay,
I've always been very creative since I was from a very young age. I always did internships with fashion houses, with designers. But then I've also always been quite, analytical. People always say you should be a lawyer, you should, you're good at speaking, all of that, you're good at arguing. So when I was applying to go to university, obviously that was the first thing I chose. I did want to study law. And so it's been a journey. So I've done my degree, done law school, done everything. But then I feel like I've discovered myself, because I am a very creative person. So in the journey of university and all of that, I feel like the creative side of me has sort of come out emerged more. So I guess that's where we are now. Yeah, so it's just
so being a lawyer now, it's the back
it's not out of the window, because I'm happy I did it, and it's good to have. And I haven't done my master's yet, but I want to do my master's in fashion, get a master's in fashion entrepreneurship to do with my brand. But still, it's there, and I'm still young, so I still have, so I'm happy I can choose which one I want to do, or do one on the side, or whatever.
But you're not deprived on any side, you have all your options.
Exactly.
Either which way, some experience will come into play at any point in time. That's awesome. But I'd like to ask, why did you, because when you hear fashion, you think, what comes to mind readily is clothes. But these days, people doing stuff with bags and accessories and all of that stuff. So why? And you do footwear, right? I saw your fantastic pieces on your site.
Thank you. To be honest, I kind of fell into it, so to speak. I was, I don't know. I didn't know what aspects. I didn't really want to be I didn't know what aspects of fashion I wanted to go into. I'd always do work experience with stylists, with designers, fashion weeks. So I've always had an eye for little pieces, like what I think is nice, what I don't think is nice. People would always ask me for my opinion on like certain things, fashion and all that. So I think with the slippers, I actually made a pair of slippers for myself to start off with. I found someone who makes slippers that just for myself, and with fabric, with Ankara. I just basically.
How long did it take to make that one?
The person who makes, I have someone who makes them, and it was quick. I mean, he did it in less than a day. And so I brought this. So I was wearing these slippers, and my mom was like, "Oh my gosh, these are so nice." A lot of other people were like, "These are really nice." Where did you get them from? I was like, "Oh, I made them," and that's basically how it started. There was demand, so obviously I had to start supplying. So I also think, I also, because before I moved back to Nigeria, I had always said I want to do something, I want to find a little side hustle.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of God as well, how everything just fell into place. And then as soon as, from something so simple as me making pastas for myself, and then everyone liked them, and it's grown. The business has grown a lot more than I ever sort of imagined, because I didn't even, it wasn't like
you really went out
to start it. It just started.
How much do you sell the piece?
They're 7,500 or 8,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really nice.
And they're all locally made. So we're promoting, helping local craftsmen, and they're all made in Nigeria, fabrics and everything, soles and all. So
we'll put up details on how you can get them on the website, so that anybody could just call you. If you have where you can make orders, we'll put a link to your site so you can make orders. That would be fine. So fantastic. How many? When did this start actually?
While I was in law school, it started, so a little over a year old. Okay. But so while I was in law school, but I really just started pushing a lot in the last couple of months.
How many pieces you say? How many have you sold? Can you put a number?
I didn't like to give numbers.
Okay, over 20, over 100,
definitely,
over 2,000, 2 million.
Not up to 2,000, but we're getting there.
You will definitely get there. Baby steps. Okay. So now, what I usually call the deep stuff. Okay, because you said something very key. You said it's just what your parents did for you was just to show you the way and let you make your own decisions. Okay, and you said something also that you'll have your head screwed on right. I know you're saying.
I like to think so.
I know so. And I've seen you from afar a few times, and you have it all together. Okay, what I would like to ask is on fashion. There's a lot of diversion now from what we used to know as the ideal way to dress and the right body parts to expose. Okay, what's your general take on fashion now, really?
Obviously, now fashion has gone a bit crazy. There's all sorts of things on the catwalks. There's all sorts of things. Designers are creating all sorts of pieces in the name of fashion. And obviously, being a model, I have experienced, that as well. Like, I've seen firsthand some of these outfits. And I can see it. I can see that there's a problem. And I feel like sometimes you, as a model yourself, a lot of models don't speak up because you're getting paid. Some people don't mind. To be honest, they really don't mind. Some of them don't mind. Some of them mind, but they're getting paid, so they don't. So for me as a model, that was one of my challenges. I wouldn't do that many shows just because there's some people like that. I'll just avoid the control, avoid having to cause,
any controversy.
Exactly. I'll just rather sit out. I know this is why I have stayed out of it. So there were a few times where I was in a few shows and I, would say I'm really sorry, I can't wear this. Not in a bad way, just because those were my standards. I want my, my values off the catwalk to be the same as on the catwalk. Yeah. So there's nothing contradictory about my person. So
so you can actually be a Christian, you can actually have a godly lifestyle, let me not sound religious, and still be fashionable. Yeah, you can, and you definitely can. Exactly, you can. You just have to know, you have to make your own decisions about what you want to wear, and don't follow the trends, because you can look nice, there are all sorts of things out there. You don't have to do the transparent things, or do the, the extra shorts, or the, boobs spilling out, exactly. So you just have to take your own stand. Okay. Yeah. How do you see God?
How do I see God? I'm still discovering God, obviously, like it's a journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
But how do I see him? I see him as a father, someone who cares for you, someone who wants your best interest. I mean, I've learned that a lot. Sometimes the things that I've wanted or paths that I wanted to go down and they haven't worked out, but then with hindsight, or like, you know, looking back, I know that God didn't let certain things happen for a reason, or did let certain things happen for a reason. So I feel like he's someone who has your best interest at heart. So basically like a good father who wants the best for his children at the end of the day. So I've really learned that, especially recently.
Yeah. How when you take a decision, now you're a businesswoman, you're into business now, and you have to make decisions regards to your brand, with regards to your pricing, with regards to who your target market is. How do you take your decisions in line with? I was reading recently in the Bible, in Leviticus. Apparently, I've just been going through the Bible, and somehow I'm seeing things that, for some strange reason, I never knew were there. For instance, tattoos. And I'm like, wow, so it's even a sin, which is back to fashion. Everybody now wants to have a tattoo. Do you understand? So when it comes to you making decisions regards to your brand, like you said, you know, you've had issues where you have to be on shoes, and because you're not comfortable with certain outfits, you don't wear them. What place does God take in all of that when it comes to taking decisions? You understand? At what point do you know that I have to do A because that's what God will have me do?
I think for me, like, I want my life to glorify God. You want people to see God in you. So I think it kind of takes priority before anything else. So you want to, so I guess I think, can I call myself a Christian and do this? And would people, like, you don't want people to question you. So would people question you for, having, saying you're a Christian and, for, in what you're doing. Yes. So I guess that's how I make my decisions. I'm like, what would WWJD, I guess. Back to basics. So true. I think so.
Everybody has a favorite scripture. Everybody has a favorite song. Am I going to make you sing well?
Definitely.
What's your favorite scripture?
What is my favorite scripture? The scripture that during my law school exams, the scripture that was always in my head. I think I can't remember what chapter or verse, but it was something like, I cried out to you in my time of need, and you heard my cry or something. So just, I think that was quite an encouraging scripture. So I think so far that's a good one. But I can't really. I have a few.
Like you said, it's a journey, so you keep, and it's funny, when you think you have one scripture
then you find something else.
Exactly. And it's all over your
And I keep finding new scriptures all the time. They've skipped my mind. Or the ones about the plans he has to us.
Of good and not of evil, to bring you to an expect. Everybody, I know that one. I'm not good at quoting scriptures, but I know that one.
That's one that's always stuck in my head. Yeah.
Okay. How many Bible versions have you read? Like not front to back, but just read through. And which is your preference?
I quite like the new. I think NIV. Is it NIV? Okay. The one that's quite easy to
NLT, New Living Translation. That one, NIV. You have the NIV, you have the NLT, you have the Message.
I think the Message is... No, I think I like the New Living Translation.
Oh, that's my version! Yes! Yes, it got me reading the Bible all over again from Genesis. Seriously. It just makes it so simple.
Easy to read through.
So simple.
Yeah. But not too watered down.
Exactly. Some keywords are still there. Classic. Now, to singing. I am going to make you sing.
I know!
What's that song that just takes you there? That gets you all weak at the knees for God, like, oh, this is God's self.
I'm so bad when I put on the spot. I don't know. There are so many songs.
It's a hard one.
It's a hard one. It's a difficult one. I wish I could think of something on the spot, but I just when I'm trying to think of something on the spot, then everything
it happens.
Exactly.
It happens. So what would you? Okay, I'm sure it will come. If it doesn't come before the end of the show, that's fine. We'll wrap this up. So what would you say about ladies who want to serve God, who want to be models, who want to do that, who want to take the world? Because we really have to take the world.
Yeah.
That's the truth. But we have to set standards. Okay. So what would you say to people young ladies who are aspiring to be? I want to be a model. I love to model, but I can't do A, B, C, D.
I think you just have to take a stand. People have to know what you stand for, and I feel like after you've taken a stand, and people will respect you, and they will learn to work around you. So if someone wants you, some people, like in regards to things like modeling, like when people know this is what this person stands for, but they still want you, so they will then adjust exactly to suit you.
So you're getting them into the fold.
Exactly. So you have to be able to not go with the flow. So you have to be counterculture.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Counterculture.
So you have to basically take a stand for what you believe in, and people would see the glory of God shining around you, and they would, you would attract people to you. I guess.
Good stuff. So you take a stand for Christ today. Sometimes people make it look like, serving God is so boring, you have to do A, B, C, D. Well, it's easy. It's a lifestyle. And there's only one way you can find out the do's and the don'ts. It's all in the Bible, okay? So find time to study the Word and live the life for Christ. I'll see you next week. Bye.